Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? See, a lot of people, they procrastinate. Well, I'm not good enough yet. You're not good enough yet. Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? Are you aware of the fact that you will fail your way to success? Are you aware of the fact that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great? Are you willing to let something die in you today that you should be going live with tomorrow, waiting on the illusion of perfection? That was one. Let me go to another one. I just love this. Okay. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? This is by Steve. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? You know, a lot of people, they have a fear-driven life. And when you have a fear-driven life, that it's been said that most of the fears we have, 95% of them never happen. That the fears that most of us conjure up in our minds and waste a lot of energy over, gain weight over, digging early graves with our teeth, turning our hair gray, or losing weight, never happen. And we allow those fears that we have of what might happen to rob us of the joys of today. No, today is all you have. Life has no duplicate. Enjoy what you have where you are right now. Do what you can where you are with what you have right now, and God will do what you can. He wants us to be joyful. And there's a difference between being joyful and being happy. Being happy, that's dependent upon circumstance. But joy, come on now. Joy passeth all human understanding. What do you mean by that? Because people wonder, how can you be joyful given what's happening to you or given what you've gone through? How can you be joyful given what life has done to you or given your situation? We visited people in the hospital, one in one bed, same condition, just as joyful. Another person, I don't know. The Lord is able. I'm just trying to make it, honey. One foot on the banana peeling and the other one in the graveyard. No, don't allow anything that you worry about rob you of your joy of today, especially if it involves somebody else. Wherever they find themselves, at some point in time, they made an appointment to be there. You control you. You live your life. Stop trying to play God. You can't control nobody. I don't care how much you love them. You can't control their choices and what direction they decide to take their lives in. Oh, that sounds hard. I know. You know what this is? The world's smallest violin playing the world's saddest song. Be joyful. So they were just throwing different quotes, and then they would take their tag and tag it and do their piece with it, or they'll take a part of their story and they'll do their take on their story. And then I'll ask, can I take a swing at that, please? And they said, sure. And when I finished, they say, you know what? You told my story better than I told my story. We have a wonderful community of people who love to change lives. If that's you, if you have a story, you want to learn how to tell it, get it out, make more money with it, increase your cash flow, be a voice of influence and develop a national and global reputation with your story like I have, I want you to go to hungrytospeak.com. Go there now. Go there to hungrytospeak.com and become a part of our community. And that's really, really, to me, the most important part, because when I started out, all I had was Mike Williams, my mentor. Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, and he was coaching me. But when you in a community of people, and trust me on this, right now, more than ever, it's very important to be in a community of like-minded, positive people who lift your spirit, iron sharpening iron, people who bring value to you, people where you can develop strategic partnerships, people that you can work together, people that are motivated and driven and have a focus of what they want to do with their lives. This is a time, and this is a quote that deals with this. Preparation. Prepare yourself to be positioned so that your life will be in a good place when whatever happens comes your way. Question is, are you willing to be patient with the preparation? See, a lot of people want success right now. They want mastery right now. They want to be great right now. No, it ain't that kind of party. Mastery takes time. It takes time, and it takes coaching, and it takes practice, and it takes being around other people in a group that you feed off each other and give each other strength and hold each other accountable. And magic happens when you do that.
Why is personal development such an important thing for people?
Personal development is very important to people, I believe, is because of the fact that how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And we develop a vision of what's possible for ourselves between the ages of 0 and 6, according to various studies. And so according to your circumstances, to your culture, to your environment, that to a large extent begin to create a vision of yourself. Only 5% of people, for the most part, achieve their true greatness in life and make a real greater impact than the average person. Only 5%. Usually, this percentages of those who achieve self-actualization is really between 3% to 5% of the world population. And so I believe that the more people discover the truth of who they are, that will free them up to use the power that they have to do more, to have more inventions, to create more cures for things that's impacting humanity, to reduce poverty in the world and homelessness, and give people a sense of power that they would not have as a result of working on themselves. When you work on yourself and you expand your vision of yourself, you are able to make a greater impact in life. I've traveled around the world and I've earned millions of dollars helping people to build businesses, to make a difference in their community. I used to be a state legislator. I passed 14 pieces of legislation when I was elected to the Ohio legislature. I've been a community activist. All of these is a result of the vision, the mindset transformation that took place within me. And so when I speak to people about personal development, I'm talking from a place of knowing, of achieving. And so personal development is important because what it does, it inspires people to live an achievement-driven life, as opposed to just earning enough money to take care of yourself and your family, and then you die one day. You know, Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. So when people develop themselves and discover the truth about who they are, they live a life of contribution.
You came here to do something. And I'm encouraging you, don't rule it out, say, well, I don't know if you can do it. Well, so what? Eye has not seen. What do you think that means? There's some things that you can do that you've never seen before. We're in a place now where we've never been before. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard. Nor is in the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. What's in you that you're able to do. That's why they have a term called breakthrough, that your life is a breakthrough moment. And so when I think about that and think about what I was going to share with you today, that this is a time. I have a friend named Dr. Stan. They call him Dr. Breakthroughs, Stan Harris. And he talks about living your life in a way in terms of having breakthroughs. And I think we should have those in various areas of our lives, that we must live with a sense of urgency, one, and two, and that's making every moment count. And the other thing is have breakthrough thinking. Look at ways in which in various areas of your life that you have breakthroughs, that you take your performance to the next level. That those things that you've been talking about and you've been operating at this level, but now you're at a place now, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to take it to another level. When I was a kid, the high jump in the Olympics was 6 feet. And a guy named John Thomas was a brother who he was a high jumper and had the record in the world. And so during that time when you jumped, as kids, we played in the backyard. We would have somebody hold a stick and you run and you would just jump over it. And then, but he developed a strategy. Most people were just jumping forward to jump over it. But he developed a strategy that you could sizzle, and what they call the sizzle, that you raise your leg and that front leg, and then the other leg come behind it, right? Then there's something that came along called the Fosbury Fly. Same event, but there's a guy, it was named after him. And when he jumped, he was able to raise his body high enough in the air, and he would go over the pole head first and bring the body behind him. Same event, but different strategy. And as a result of that different strategy, he was able to maximize his impact. He was able to jump 7 feet that you couldn't do it physically, just using the method that had been used or that approach up to that particular point. Now, tell me what you mean, Les. I'm trying to stay with you. Well, here's what I mean. That there's some things that you are doing and that you perhaps have not succeeded using the approach that you now have. And that many people, when they're going after their goals and dreams, they have failure after failure after failure because they are doing something in the same way. I think that's why Einstein said that thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And that's when I came to the concept, and I want you to get my book called You Gotta Be Hungry. And so what happened is that as you look at your life, a lot of people, when they fail over and over and over again using the approach that they now are using, they stop. I'm suggesting change your approach, but don't change your decision. Am I making sense to you? Change your approach. Get some help. I believe ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. Because you've failed at it thus far does not mean that it can't be done by you. It's just that the approach that you're using now does not work. And there's some things that we're supposed to do that many people using the same method, the same team, the same relationships, the same information, the same approach, and they stop saying it can't be done. I remember as a kid, we used to say to illustrate whether or not someone can accomplish something and whether or not they could not, to illustrate the impossibility of them accomplishing something, we would say, oh, you got a chance of doing that as a man going to the moon. Shut up, get away from me. Hey, we've gone to the moon. We don't say that anymore because when I was a kid, it was seen as impossible for man to go to the moon. That's no longer a reality. The Wright brothers, when they were able to create a vehicle that was only up in the air for about 6 seconds. Up to that point, the belief was for centuries, man couldn't fly. Because if God wanted man to fly, he'd have given him wings. You will never fly. You're not a bird. Get used to it. You're not even a pigeon. Get used to it. Might be a pigeon in your thinking, but you cannot fly. That was the belief. But the Wright brothers, who came along, and their father was a minister, and that was his belief, they had breakthrough thinking, and they changed the approach on what it would take to transport our bodies in the air. You came here to do something. Some people know right away. Nina Simone, who climbed up on a piano at 5 and started playing by ear. Some people know right away of what that is. And there are some, the majority, because they have not been exposed or seen something, that they have the abilities of greatness that they have within them that they can do, but they have not seen anybody doing it yet. So they don't even try. That's why one of the most important things we can do for our children is expose them to things so that they can begin to see themselves in other people. When I was at Booker T. Washington High School, when I saw Mr. Leroy Washington, I was exposed to this man who said to me, "Young man, go in front of the room and work this problem out for me." "Oh, sir, I can't do that." "Why not? I'm not one of your students." "Look at me." "Yes, sir, go and do what I'm asking you to do anyhow." "I can't, sir." And then the other students started laughing, saying, "He's DT. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT." He asked, "What's DT?" "He's the dumb twin." And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And so how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And because I was called the dumb twin, because when I was in the 5th grade, I was put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and Mrs. Mary Ford Williams, who was the principal at Douglas Elementary School in Overtown in Miami, came in and said, "Please point out the kids that are causing all of the problems." And I was among those. They can't learn. We're gonna put them in a special class by themselves. The kids called us the dodos. I was in the dodo ward. Bullying didn't just start. That's how they bullied us. We were in the dodos ward. We ate together and we were in the class by ourselves. We only went with other kids to the cafeteria at eating time, at lunchtime, and physical education. Other than that, the dodos were all in one room because the belief was we could not learn. We were dumb. And then this man spoke. Because now in your dodo ward, they don't give you anything to do but entertain each other, and you color and you play and you clown around, because the belief was there ain't gonna be nothing.
I'm just thinking about myself. I'm doing a little bit of self-reflection just listening to you. I'm just thinking about me on stage and things I'm telling my team. I can't believe how much a lot of your tapes and CDs have already embedded in myself. And by the way, I'm not taking any credit for it. It's coming from the source right here. And how much of the catchphrases I'm seeing you say, I'm like, Ivan, right? How many times has he said something I've said in easy? I'm like,
Oh, wow, yeah.
Like that's where it came from.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is that we have to train people who want to present and connect people how to deliver info bites. Okay, an info bite to me is
Interesting.
live your life the way that you want to leave your life. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you right now, if you had 90 days to live, how many of you will make some radical changes in your life? And most people raise their hands. And then you take a poll, you know what the majority of them will say? "I will quit my job." Why? Because that's not them.
Yeah.
They're not doing something that's them. You spend 40 to 60 hours a week doing something that's not you.
Yeah.
That's stressful. But if you're doing something that's you, that's your passion. And so when you realize that we have a choice to accept life as it is,
Yep.
or be an active force for good, to decide, I don't want to just survive. This is not me. What it takes to survive and what it takes to live, those are two totally different things. And you got to be willing to work for that. A lot of people are afraid of that four-letter word. Willingness, W, the willingness to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. O, ownership of your life, taking full responsibility for where you are. George Bernard Shaw said that people that make in his life, they look around for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. The R stands for willingness to reinvent yourself. To that in order for a man to gain his life, he must lose his life. So you've got to be willing to die to who you are now, to give birth to who you are to become. And the K stands for kindred spirits. You've got to come out from among people who don't have goals, who don't have dreams. People rub off on you. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. Either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? And so if people are willing to do the work, whosoever will, let him come. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still.
Boom! I love it.
I want to share some thoughts with you. Have you ever had moments of breakthroughs that you said, you know what? I need to share this. And I want you to like this page and share it. For some reason, I don't know why, but things have been dropping into my spirit that just accessing parts of myself for some time, that because of the busyness of life, and I allowed it to get in, that I couldn't hear my voice, that voice in my heart. And I think that I was listening to too many voices and caught up in other folks' stuff. Can you feel me up in here, as young folks say, can you feel me? And so I've been intentionally putting distance between me and the majority of people, including family, just to get still and to think and to hear myself think. Because sometimes you can get so caught up in other people's stuff, you neglect your stuff. And so I want to share something with you. And this is, my message is not for everybody. My message is just for a few people, not for large numbers of people. Large numbers of people, even though they can benefit from what I say, but I'm not their guy. They're not my tribe. I'm talking to the people who can hear me and can understand me and can relate to me and connect with me and identify with me because of my approach. My approach is different. I'm listening to a lot of these entertainers and athletes, and there's so many people out here that just can't speak without foul language. There's no filter between their brains and their mouth. And I just can't open my mind to that. A guy wanted me to put together, and when I started looking at it, within 1 minute, I had to stop. And I called him, I said, man, I can't listen to your stuff. He said, why not? I said, the language is too filthy. I don't want to give up territory in my mind for that. There's some stuff you just got to guard your mind and your heart, that you don't need it in your system. It matters. The words that are spoken to you and the words that you speak and the things that you listen to. You think it's any accident? When you look at young people today and their propensity for vulgar language and violent behavior, you think that's an accident? No, absolutely not. So this is for the few, and I want you to like this page and share it. If you know anybody who's heard my voice and they got some value of what I shared, please. And so I want to share some thoughts with you, and they're not going to be long. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about something that's very important to you, something that you'd like to do with your life, something that you would like to accomplish, and that gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose. I want you to think about that right now. I want to share with you, this is my mother, Mamie Brown. And so she took my brothers and sisters and I in as foster kids, and then eventually she adopted us. My brother and I, my twin brother, we were conceived in Gainesville, Georgia. Our birth mother was Dorothy Rucker and Doc Oliver Randolph. And so she came down to Liberty City in Miami to give birth to us and put us up foster care. And so my goal and vision was, that gave my life a sense of meaning and purpose, was I told Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm gonna buy you a home. As you think about your goals and dreams, I want you to write this down. You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. I was talking to a friend of mine, single mother of 2, and she has 4 different jobs. Spent the majority of her time in her life investing in herself, developing herself, and positioning herself to be able to take care of her children and to live a larger life to provide for them and herself. And it's important that you have some purpose with your life, as mine was in buying my mother a home, but I want you to write this down. Sacrifice. That when Mamie Brown, my adopted mother, always say when I speak, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. That was a sacrifice for her. Her life changed. At 46, she took in 7 kids that she didn't give birth to. And Mama was attractive. Mama had the ability to sing. She had all types of talents. But when she said to Mr. Moss, our godfather, yes, I'll take him, because our birth mother, thank God, Dorothy Bell Rucker, didn't want Wesley and I separated, and nobody wanted to adopt twins. But Mamie Brown said, I'll take both of them. And her life changed. I remember Mr. Moss said when he was driving Mama back from Liberty City to Overtown in Miami, and she was looking at the 2 of us, and tears of gratitude rolling down her cheeks, as she was so thankful that she now for the first time had children in her life, that she could share life with kids. She never had any children herself, and she always wanted a child, and she told everybody. And then when our birth mother, Dorothy Bell Rucker and Oliver Randolph, they wouldn't receive them at Jackson Memorial Hospital. I'm 79, so at that time, Jackson Memorial Hospital was not receiving colored people or Negroes. And so they went in an abandoned building, and she gave birth to us on a floor, but she went into labor. And so my mother, Mamie Brown, her life changed. When you have a goal and dream, something you've set your sight on that you want to achieve, trust me, you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up? When I wanted to speak, when I decided I was going to buy Mama a home, and I decided that this is the area that I wanted to plant my feet, and something that gave my heart and my spirit and my soul a joy that passeth all human understanding. I love communication, and so I became a disc jockey, and I used to be involved in sales. I was a salesman at Sears in the men's department. But communication, I love working with people and interacting with people. I had a training seminar here in Atlanta, and this past weekend I said, there's one thing to do a Zoom, but when you're in the room with me, when I get up in your face, let me tell you something, up in here. It was riveting and powerful. Once you think about something that you love so much, you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. I just talked to someone this morning, and I said, I decline to have you as a client. And so she said, why? I said, I want to work with people that this is who they are. You want to dabble in this place. I want to work with people who have the mindset that they got to work, that they have got to do. There's something that's in them, that they've got to do it. And there's a work that them not doing it is not an option. I have got to speak. This is what I do. And so this is who I want to work with, those kinds of people. And so I want you to think about that work that you have got to do, that feeds your soul and spirit. 80% of people are going to jobs that they hate. When Friday comes, they say, thank God it's Friday. I want you to think about something that you can do 7 days a week. It's you, and you never go to work a day in your life because it resonates with your heart and your spirit and your soul. Now here's something else. Listen to me clearly. And this is not going to be easy. You got to come out from among the people that you're around right now. When you have goals and dreams and you're around people that don't have goals and dreams, it rubs off on you. It rubs off. It affects you. One goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. I'm creating something called the Live Your Greatest Life community. A place where people, everyday people, with the mindset of goals and dreams and something they want to do with their lives. I saw these guys, you've seen those groups, you've seen on the internet where people get on, groups of guys get on one side and sometimes women participate and they crack on each other and talk about each other's mother or just all type of stuff like that. I said, wow. I said, what if we did something like that where people are talking about their goals and their dreams and we're encouraging each other. We're bringing out the best in each other. And so I don't criticize people who do that, but I said, I'm watching them. I want them to watch me. That evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. And so my goal is to be accessible and build a community with like-minded people who have goals and dreams, people who love the power presentation, people who would love to learn how to tell their story, people who want to make a difference, people who like the positive energy that brings out the best in them. Those are types of communities that I want to be in and that I'm going to create and do it nationally as well as locally and around the globe. And so when I look at my life and people ask, how did you get there? How did you go from your twin brother and you eating sugar cane and raised in poverty in the segregated South, very oppressive culture that's designed to destroy your sense of self and dismiss you and demean you and demonize you? How did you go from that to speaking to people around the world? One of the first things is I had to become aware of who I was and what I wanted and the must-haves There are a lot of people that are happy and satisfied with where their life is. But I didn't like where I was, and I wanted more. And I was willing to make the sacrifice, to do the work, to invest in myself, to do whatever was necessary in order for me to become the kind of person that I could achieve my goals. Because at the end of the day, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And there's truly no competition. Bob Proctor, God bless his soul, he said that most people are where they are now because they're ignorant. I said, whoa, that's harsh, but it's real. That they're not willing to learn, they're not to upgrade their ability to learn new things. At this stage of my life, I'm learning something new every day. Today, I'm focusing on how to post. Why, Les? You're 79. I know. And if you don't use it, you lose it. This is my anti-dementia program, my anti-Alzheimer's program, my anti-assisted living program, my anti-nursing home program, my anti-caregiver program. I care for myself. I can do for myself. And so I'm challenging myself. I still have not done my best work. I've got friends who are younger than me and they're already through. But that's not me. That's none of my business. I met this man who changed my life, Leroy Washington. You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about this morning. He has 2 sons and 2 daughters. They never saw the man that I saw. He was a speech and drama teacher at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami. They never saw him. Isn't that interesting? They never saw. He impacted my life. He was more of a father to me, and I got more from him than the children that he brought into this world because they never saw him. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone and it started going south because they never saw you? They thought that you were someone else. They underestimated who you were. And so they never saw it. I remember one time being in a restaurant on 7th Avenue and 62nd Street in Miami, and one of his sons had a waitress to come to the table and said, your son is outside, he'd like to talk to you. And he went outside to talk to his son. When he came back in, and I asked him, I said, hi, what was going on? Is it an emergency? He said, no. He wanted to borrow $15. And this man who was the father that I never had, this man who did not know I adopted him as my spiritual father, I was sitting there having lunch with him, talking about the impact that he made on my life, watching him just signed a contract for $5 million. His son outside calling him to come outside to borrow $15 from him. He never knew who his father was to this day. And there are people around you who don't know you, who don't see you. They have this antiquated old history about you, and that person that they know, that person's gone, they're died. There are people who see me and say, whoa, Les, I can't believe it's you. Yeah, I understand, because the person that you once knew, he doesn't live here anymore. And there are people that you've been in relationship with or used to kick it with or party with, and they see you or you see them and they're totally different.
Listen, Les, there's so much more we could talk about. I just want you to know that I'm privileged to know you. I feel like over the years, you were part of my core in terms of personal development and growing. You gave me hope. And I think part of that hope came, truthfully, is I was held back in the first grade. By the fourth grade, I realized I couldn't read very well, and they would take me out of social studies class, and they would take me upstairs to this other room with 3 other students, and I sat in extra small tables, extra small chairs, and they would have me read cartoon books and then take a comprehension test at the end. So I locked on the belief that I'm not a reader. maybe some people are born to read and some people aren't. And I watched my older brother who read all the time. And then I didn't read until I was a junior in high school. And it was around that time that I came across you. And I remember listening to that old speech you gave, which was awesome. I have the whole speech written in a journal, by the way. But you said in there that the average American reads one book a year. And I remember hearing that and thinking, no, as Jim Rohn said, all leaders are readers. And I think you actually said that once too.
Yes, right. And yes, one book a year, and said in there, said that if you discipline yourself to read one book a month, in 5 years, when the average American read 5 books and you'd have read 60 books, that will make you an expert.
Wow. Wow, what a great reminder for people.
Yes, absolutely. Knowledge is the new currency, and your ability to present and relationship capital. Quality people. I teach OQP, only quality people. Many people, TJ, never achieve their goals because they have too many toxic, negative, energy draining people in their lives. Now, some people say, well, can I change them? No, it's a full-time job changing yourself. And I believe that you have to really focus on yourself. There's a quote by Iyanla Vanzant that I love, and I'm practicing. And it says, give to yourself until your cup runneth over, and then give to others from the overflow. I tried to help my twin brother lose weight, and I gained 14 pounds.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's real too, man. If you know someone who's hungry, who's serious, who has a passion for changing lives, and who feel that changing lives is a calling on their life. As I said, the speaking industry has been hijacked by speakers who speak to sell.
Yeah.
I want speakers who want to make a difference in life, that they feel that this is what I'm supposed to do. I believe I was born to speak. I talk in my sleep. So I'm looking for the one. I'd like to have 70, because 7 is my lucky number. 77. I was born February 17th. I'm one of 7 children. Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. I tell you, 7 is my lucky number, my brother. All right? I'm looking for 77 people who will email me who are hungry and say, Les, I'm the one. I'm the one. And I'd like for them, before they call me, to go on YouTube and watch Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, where I was speaking to over 80,000 people.
I said, because I'm educable mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that man, Mr. Leroy Washington, did something for me. He started planting seeds in my mind.
And I tell the story about, I said to Mr. Washington, sir, I'm the one. I'm the one. When he said he's looking for one student that he has impacted that will make the fact that he came to Booker T. Washington High School worthwhile. One who wanted to go out and make the community proud, make their family proud. And I said, sir, I want to make my mother proud. And that was what motivated me to get into this area. He was a speech and drama teacher who helped me to discover my voice.
Let's demystify a little bit about church and money. You know, oftentimes people say, well, you know, Matt, your YouTube channel, or you guys talk about being faith-based, but it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. And God just wants you content. God just wants you, and yet people are not paying the bills. Yet people aren't tithing. People aren't giving offering. They're not building the kingdom, at least from a financial standpoint. They're not expanding it. We all know that ministries need finances. So can you speak to that in terms of help? Maybe that's a myth. Maybe that's a myth.
If we look at the difference between what I do and what ministers do, ministers preach the gospel about Jesus. I preach the gospel that Jesus preached.
They sell the messenger, I sell his message.
Boom.
When they demanded of the Jewish carpenter when the kingdom of God shall come, he said, he didn't talk about brick and mortar, some building, the kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, is neither lo there, lo here, behold, the kingdom of God is within you. You can't have a kingdom without a king. Kings rule. You must master the king in you. Most of us have been programmed to fail. Most of us are being manipulated by the media, by computers. Studies indicate that most people look at their phone over 400 times a day. They've given up control, the real estate of their mind, the kingdom within, to commercial advertising. They've been programmed to be fans, to be spectators, as opposed to being co-creators in how they're going to live their lives. You know, Abraham Lincoln said, the future belonged to those who created. We were born to create. And so this time where we are, this place where we are, people should not be focused on the television set and what's going on in the Ukraine, and my heart goes out to them and my prayers and my support for them. But they should be focused on what kind of person must I become that will help me to learn how to turn adversity to my advantage. Because life is going to always be challenging. Think it not strange that you're faced the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. It's a part of the process. And so our goal is to master your kingdom. That we have to go within, as we say, that you don't live life as it is, you live life as you are. And so if we train our children how to live their lives from the inside out as opposed to the outside in, we can reduce the dropout rate, the suicide rate, the unexplained violent behavior, people fighting over toilet paper in a grocery store or fighting over a parking spot. That's somebody that's not in their right mind. And so people are breaking down to a very large extent. But the people that will make it through this place where we are, there's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Shakespeare said, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. If people take the time, a minimum of 2 to 3 times a day, to get still, to get quiet, to go within, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth thee, and listen to the whispering of your soul. What am I supposed to do next? As opposed to listening to the world. What you tune into, you turn into. So in this space, we have to focus on how to begin to elevate ourselves above the culture, above all the stuff that we see, and focus on whole a vision of what we want to manifest. My favorite book says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me.
We mess with
you might run over here, but you'll limp back. Don't mess with me.
One thing I've always recognized about your skill, your talent, is that you're just impeccable with telling stories. And so I'm envisioning a 20, 30-year-old Les Brown starting a speaking career. What do you do when you were taking notes from, because every time I've done speaking, I'm like, I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have said this. And I'm picturing maybe you're doing that too as well to improve the next time you speak or deliver that message. So what do you do? What did you do? What did you do continually to improve your skill set to deliver your message better as a speaker?
To me, the best speakers are the best listeners. Watching and observing people, and most importantly, observing yourself. Because most of us go through life on automatic, based upon the programming, the things that's in our minds, that's governing our behavior that we're unaware of. Okay. The great anthropologist Margaret Mead, she was in a restaurant in London, and a waiter noticed her and he said, "You know, there's several Americans here tonight." And she asked, "Is that right?" He said, "Yeah." She said, "I tell you what, I want to do something." And he said, "What is it?" She said, "Let me know when you serve them dessert. I can tell you exactly how many Americans here." He said, "You can't." She said, "Let me know." And so he came over later. He said, "Okay, I've served dessert." She got up, she walked around, she looked, observed people eating their dessert. She counted them. She said, "There are 35 Americans here." He checked the roster. He said, "How did you know?" She said, "In the UK, when you eat a dessert, a piece of pie or cake, you eat it from the crust toward the tip. In America, we eat it from the tip toward the crust." What else have we picked up? There are things that we learn through observation, through our environment, and through the things that we experience. And so when we have things that's governing our behavior that we picked up between 0 and 6, according to Martin Seligman, who wrote the book Learned Optimism, we've learned how to be helpless. And the things that we experience between 0 and 6, there's a word that's in our heart that's either yes or no. And those decisions, that vision of yourself, the people that impacted you, those behaviors will follow you for the rest of your life unless there's an interruption. And that's what we bring, the interruption, for them to step out of their mental conditioning and to begin to cultivate a sense of greatness, self-awareness, self-approval, and continuing to raise that level of what we expect from ourselves, what we want from life, and self-commitment, and the willingness to put in the work. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So I don't know how to do it. Not a problem. Lean not unto thine own understanding. No, you don't have to know. Just do what you can do, and God will do what you can't do. Just give it a shot. Bet on you. Take a chance on you. Superman is not coming. I told them not to eliminate those telephone booths because he'll get arrested for indecent exposure. Yes, and he'll have to go in a closet somewhere. No, they eliminated the telephone booths anyhow. Now he ain't coming. No, he ain't coming now. No, he ain't gonna try and cover himself with a telephone book. There ain't no more telephone books. So I'm just saying. My medication.
I'm just imagining that picture right there.
My medication wearing off right about now.